so humid. I think that the lens kind of fogged up. So today we got the matte cam, we got the nice cam, the fancy cam. So you can get that multiple. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Multiple angles on that last video I shot with the oil pan. So today we're going to start. I think we're gonna get the Phoenix up on the lift and start taking the rear axle and all that stuff out. I've been having fun driving it, but I know I need to get to it and get it actually fixed for good. So I've kind of been dragging my feet because it's so much joy. It's such a joy to drive, and it really does garner quite a bit of attention wherever I go. So it's a lot of fun, but it'll probably be funner once I get the right transmission, the right converter in there, and the right rear axle, and the brakes. I get big rear disc brakes. So I think we'll get it in, get it up, and get to work. So let's take a look at what we got going on now. So here is the rear axle that needs replacing, and here is the drive shaft that's going to need to be replaced. And damn, this is hard. There is a transmission that's going to be replaced. So I mean, here's my plan. Here is my plan, just so everybody can tell me how completely retarded I am. I'm okay with that, but I think this is a solid plan. I really thought this out. So what I do have is, obviously we got the axle down there, and I need to kind of measure out like from hub to hub, just to make sure we're semi ballpark. It doesn't have to be close. It doesn't have to be like perfect. It does have to be kind of close. And then basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the drive shaft. I'm going to take the angle here and on these guys here. So the face of the pinion yoke and the bottom of the springs, and then I'm going to recreate that angle on that, and I might add maybe a degree of recreate, and I'm going to recreate that angle on that, and maybe I'll add maybe a degree of negative pinion angle, because everybody's saying like you gotta have 6 degrees, but I'm, you know, this is going to be a daily driver, a freeway flyer, and I don't want to have excessive pinion angle. I want it to be pretty close to what I need to be. And the stock's been good. Whatever's going on here between this transmission and this axle does great. Even when I'm in it, everything feels great. Other than it's not gonna make it. Somebody ain't gonna make it. So we gotta take all this shit off, and we'll get those angles before we drop it down. But we'll drop that down, and I'm thinking, kind of looks like I'm gonna take the exhaust out of here. So it's all, I've already done the video on the exhaust. If you haven't seen it, you can go back and check it out. My fancy little dump tube. This thing's working great. See, look at that, running rich and retarded. And so I'll probably just pull that shit down just so it's not in the way and I'm not having to work around it. And then up here we got to measure this angle, this pinion angle, or the yoke angle, or whatever the fuck it is, here off this transmission. And what we'll do is we'll recreate that with the transmission mount. Now I don't know if the TH400, makes me kind of wonder what these holes back here are for. But maybe we'll get lucky and that TH400 just bolts right into this. Maybe there's provisions for it, I don't know. But that's all got to come out, and then we got the transmission's got to go back up, and everything goes back up, and then she'll be healed. Check it out. So I was having some trouble. This goddamn AEM 360, whatever 80 it is. It flows a lot of goddamn fuel, and it's been sucking my sump dry, especially under braking. I think that and what I did is I made holes in this. So I got a little hole, I got a bigger hole, and I got a big hole. So when you brake, it should keep the fuel up into there. They're obviously way bigger than the, you know, what's needed. However, I am a bit high on the sump. I probably could have went down a bit lower when I welded these guys in, and no big deal. So what I did is I took the return, instead of using the stock return that goes into the top of the tank, which I think there's a basket in, I brought it back and dumped it back into the sump since I had an extra line. And I think I'm gonna, since I've added the flex fuel, I think I'm gonna add another pump, another AEM. I'm really digging that pump now. I got it sorted out. It's nice and quiet, and I'm liking it. And I'll do that with a Y and a check valve, and I'll probably replace all this aluminum and AEM AN line with the PTFE shit that I sell. So that way it'll be no big deal. We can go back and forth between running E and running 93 octane. And there's tons of places here. So 93 octane's like 350 a gallon, 360 a gallon. I just put a few into this, and I just drove by the Sunoco, and it had E for 240 a gallon. So it's hard to beat that. So probably swap that shit out too. I'm not sure if we're gonna do it all in one go or not, but anyway, enough with the talkie. We'll get with the worky. What I did do is a buddy once sold me an engine and gave me this tire to transport it with, and it's perfect because it is a 295/50/15, and what I want to run is 275/60/15s, so it gives me a good scale of measurement. I think we're pretty close. It might be a little bit wider. Just doing a quick preliminary look at it, it looks kind of like I might have to relocate the shock absorbers because they're real close back in there, and that's about it. The new axle is a lot longer than this axle, so this axle turned out to be like 59 1/4, I think, and the new axle is like 65 3/4. So I don't know if those numbers are exact, so when I throw out this number, you'd be like, Mike, you're a moron, that doesn't add up. I did the math, wrote it down on the board, and it was basically 3 1/4 inches wider on each side, I think it was. Let's see. No, it's 2.875 wider on each side. So not you know, almost 3 inches on either side. So we'll have to buy some wheels and we're gonna have to do that anyway because the lug patterns are different. I was thinking about just maybe some old Steelies and see if I can find the I found these Pontiac hubcaps that look just like mine, these little red kind of Pontiac deals. So I would really like to do that. Is got the rain going on outside, which isn't good for you guys because it makes it hard for you to hear me, and the audio is a bit funky. But it's nice because it's Houston and it's generally hot as balls. So it's been a nice weekend, this 8th of July weekend. So we dropped the you guys probably saw that I got that on sloppy cam, but we took this thing out, and I left the bolt in the back, and the goddamn thing, it was going beautifully. It was all draining right where I needed it to, and then the goddamn bolt in the back quit, and the whole thing just tumbled down, did a backflip, and goddamn transmission fluid went every goddamn where.
That went exactly how I hoped it would. Exactly why I left that bolt in the back.
So I apologize for saying goddamn like goddamn 15 times, but I was a little disappointed. It's a little disappointed in that. So what do we got going on in the trans pan is the question. The big question is, how's the transmission look? So the pan was, you can see that just kind of like coated. I'm guessing this is, so there's some chunkies in here. Yeah, there's definitely some chunky pieces. It wasn't there before. I did just change this, the transmission fluid and the filter. And then we can see the filter itself. I don't really know what the hell to make out of all that, because I don't know fuck all about transmissions. Well, I'll give you guys a nice look. There's some goop piled up now. I don't really see anything horribly bad. So that's the transmission. Besides, it looks like there's a little bit of chunkiness going on in there, but I don't know, like, I'm not really sure what that's from, but there's lots of dust. So this is probably about what it looked like when I did change it last time. So we just did about 40,000 miles worth of clutch dust in probably less than a couple hundred miles. So hey everybody, it's been a good couple days actually. We got this guy out. We're at mill. She's seen better days. That Jigs converter was actually a pretty decent converter if it would just flash a little higher. Actually a lot higher. But yeah, the whole drivetrain is out, ready to slap in the rear end and the new hotness. Got the Cameron's 420/18 turbo 400 manual valve body, Ford manual valve body, something like that. But I'm gonna run it off the column shifter, so I'm pretty excited about that, and we got to figure out how to get the pads on here. The bummer of the whole project is that the leaf springs were hashed. I mean, just you can go tap them and then just chunks fall off, but that's to be expected after 40 years. I just looked them up on Jegs, and it's like $600 for all the stuff I need: new U-bolts and pads and springs and the bushings that go with the springs. So that's kind of money that I wasn't expecting to spend. And it hurts the old pocketbook. We're probably also going to have to figure out how to relocate the shocks, because I do want to get these monster tires. I've already fitted them up there. You saw that, and it just some few modifications. So have to figure out that. If you are a spring and suspension expert on leaf spring type stuff, and you feel kind, please drop it. I've been looking at like these, they're called monoleafs, and some kind of like split leaf that goes into a thing, and it's designed for Caltrax. I think Caltrax is the company that makes it. I'm not sure, but I'm looking at that. It's not a whole lot more than what just like some, you know, kind of stock springs would cost me. I could get some eBay springs. They're a bit cheaper than like the Jeg stuff. I don't know if there's a quality difference or not, but you know, it's going to be 90, probably 8% driving, freeway driving, city driving, and that's kind of the emphasis. If it does well at the track, well, that's bonus. So I'm not sure if I want to throw a bunch of extra money at it without a whole lot of results. If just stock springs and maybe some Caltrax would, you know, be enough to get it down the track, then that might be what we're going for. So anyway, if you know a lot about that stuff and you want to help a brother out, just maybe drop me some info in the comments below. That'd be great. And otherwise, we got everything else out, ready to go back in. So until next time, this is Mike with Monkey Fab signing out.